Hello, it is I, Tauby the Great Art Detective, coming to you from the Taubman Museum of Art. And today, friends, I have with me a very special specialist coming from his studio, Mr. David Blanchard. And Mr. David, he's an artist. Hello, David.
Hello, Tauby.
How are you today?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, I am very well. Hey, listen, thank you so much for letting us come to your studio today.
Oh, well, I'm really excited about y'all's visit today.
Oh, we're so excited to be here. Hey, can you give us an idea of why you became an artist?
I just, it's what I grew up loving to do when I was young. And ended up going to college in art school at Virginia Commonwealth University and have been creative. That's just, I love to create things, and painting is one of those things.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Hey, look, I got the painting right behind me here. Does it look familiar to you?
Yeah, those are my sheep.
Oh my goodness. Hey, you have the sheep. Why do you have sheep?
I have the sheep because, well, really, it's when I moved to the country and I had a small family, and I wanted my daughters to experience raising animals, and we took on bottle-fed lambs and ended up raising this small flock, and they would show the sheep in the county fair with 4-H.
Oh, that's so wonderful. So not only are you an artist, you're also kind of a farmer too.
I am. I farm to be an artist.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, how many sheep do you have?
I have 7 total sheep. I have 2 little lambs and then my little flock of 5.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And hey, listen, I think I have a video of you in your field that introduces us to your sheep. I'm going to share it now.
Okay.
Hey, Tauby. Thanks for coming to Highland County today. I'd like to introduce you to my 5 models. I have Tintin, great personality, long legs. Cleo, love the black markings, very distinct. Valentine, a little shyer today. She's had her spring haircut and not as woolly as she normally is. George and Monkey in the back there. My sheep bring me a lot of peace and a lot of joy. And I'm really glad that you all got to meet them today.
Oh my goodness, that's so wonderful. So we had Tintin, and we had Cleo, and we had Monkey, and what was the other one?
Valentine and George.
Valentine and George. Oh my goodness. They are so great. And so your little girls, they would show them in the fair, yes?
Oh, they would. Yeah, it was really a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, too.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, fairs, at the fair, sometimes they have an art show, too. Did you ever put your artwork in the fair show?
I would. When I was younger, I would put my artwork in, and actually my daughters would do that also when they were working, presenting at the fair.
Oh, that's so great. Did you win any ribbons?
I guess that was a long time ago, and I may have won a ribbon, but I was happy to participate. I think it's always important to participate in things like that.
Absolutely. It's some good experience, and it's a good way to be an artist and show your artwork.
Right, it is. Any exposure you can get is a good thing.
That's wonderful. Hey, I know one show that you won a blue ribbon at.
That's
the Sidewalk Art Show.
I did. Yeah, that was really exciting. That was a really high point in my career.
Wonderful. For my friends who don't know, the Sidewalk Art Show is a show that happens in front of the Taubman Museum of Art every year. And there are artists who come from all over the nation to show the artwork. And Mr. David Blanchard, he won. Isn't that amazing? That's so great. Congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you, Tauby.
Now listen, I want to talk a little bit about your paintings. I think I see one of those sheep directly behind you.
Yes.
Would that happen to be Miss Cleo with her wonderful markings?
That is Cleo, and you can see those black markings, and that really is what I like working with when I'm painting her.
Oh, that's great. And I see you using some shapes, yes? I see some squares and some rectangles.
I am. So I've you know, I really like the posture that Cleo had presented herself to me, and I kind of placed her on the edge of the canvas. And as I was working through it, it kind of, there was a lot going on. And the geometric shapes, the squares and squares of colors are a way of sort of unifying the canvas and making it a little bit more as a, you know, a unified picture and something compositionally pleasing to look at.
Oh, and when you say composition, you mean about how you have planned to have things on your canvas, yes?
Correct, correct. And it makes it friendly to the viewer, that they find it pleasing to look at.
And it looks to me that you have put some of these squares onto Cleo too, so it's almost like she has some camouflage.
She's sort of really disappearing, and in this particular painting, that was kind of my objective, to kind of push her back a little bit, but not have the image completely disappear in sort of an abstract sense. So it was trying to find a nice balance.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, when you are painting your ship, when we were out in the field and we got introduced to them, they move around, yeah? So do you try to draw them from life, or do you take a picture?
I do take a picture. I will sit out there with them the way I was in the video, and they'll present themselves to me, and I've spent enough time with them that I know their personalities, and I do have a connection with them. I have a connection. That's having a connection with the images I paint is really important to me, and it really allows me to enter a painting.
Yeah, you get to capture their personalities. So like Miss Cleo behind you, she's looking very sassy in that painting.
She is like, pretty sassy. Yeah, absolutely.
That's wonderful. Now, do you use a regular paintbrush when you're painting?
For most of my paintings, I don't. I will put a gesture of the sheep quickly on the canvas. But mainly I'll use what I call, it's a squeegee, and I think it's used in pottery a lot of times to scrape off gently, you know, the clay as it's turning around. But
almost looks like a spatula.
It does. It's rubber.
Okay.
So it's really a dandy tool for me, and I can put on a lot of paint, and you can see, I think you can see, and I can really put a nice broad line on the canvas.
And that canvas there is really big, so that tool probably helps you cover the canvas more.
It does. It does. It's funny because I think this might be kind of the limit for it. I might need one a little bit longer. And more paint. It's always finding that balance of your tool and how much paint you have sometimes, but this seems to work.
Absolutely. And this big painting, that looks to me like it is just the head of one of the sheep.
It is. And I might be able to position you a little bit more.
Oh, yes.
To see it. So it is the head. And actually, this was a little smaller painting.
Oh, yes, I see.
And sometimes I'll consider these smaller ones sort of a study to see how I might want to do a larger painting of it. And I believe that it's it's one sheep that that was taken from a picture of a few sheep at a feed trough.
Oh, they're eating the food.
Eating the food, correct.
Oh, that's very nice. And so then you decided to make it a very large painting.
I did. It's you know, yeah, so it probably won't so much look like the small painting as far as the colors and all go, but it's sort of a challenge. I like the small one and I sort of challenged myself with a big one.
Absolutely. And I love all your use of color. All your paintings are so colorful.
Oh, thanks. I really do. I think it's important for me to have the bright colors. I mean, I'm a pretty happy guy, and so I tend to use what I feel like are happy colors, and they're just part of it. And you can see it's not necessarily, there aren't many pink sheep, and I've got blue in there, and I'm not so much worried about representing the sheep by its color. Now there are times that, like the painting behind you, we're looking at white sheep and right, and but I sort of allow myself the freedom to go back and forth from sort of more realistic sheep to more of a color-oriented palette of canvas for a painting.
Oh, that's wonderful. So sometimes your sheep look more realistic and sometimes they're a little bit more abstract.
Right, like that one is more realistic, and it's sort of how I came to finish the painting. Now the background, I mean, there aren't many sheep that are standing on a yellow ground, but it's sort of, I found those work for me. That's how I felt the painting needed to move.
Now I hear you have a very interesting way of experimenting with colors on the edges of your canvases.
I do. So, you know, as you're mixing paint and mixing, sometimes you can mix too much paint. And so oftentimes I will use the extra paint on the edge of a canvas.
Oh.
And what it does oftentimes is shows me color combinations that I might want to use on the next painting. I like the way they contrast to one another, and it's just sort of helpful. In my own mind, I kind of think of it as its own little painting.
Yeah, oh, that's wonderful. And it's almost kind of like a really fun experiment.
It is a fun experiment, and it kind of also just sort of, I feel like, completes the painting for me in a way.
That way you don't need a frame, you just hang it on the wall.
Right, right.
That's perfect. Now listen, I see some paintings that are not sheep. Do you do other than sheep?
I do other than sheep, and like I mentioned, I have to have a connection often with the paintings, and so I do have portrait type paintings, and I do have paintings here of people, and these are family members, and they just sort of the way they were walking, the way they were holding their purses, are what sort of my connection, other than, you know, I like the way the composition looked in the picture and the way it's laid out on the canvas.
That's fantastic. And it looks to me there that you did it again, where you have one that's almost more realistic, and the other one you experiment with some colors and lines.
I did, yeah. So this one is much more realistic, and this one is definitely, you know, just about color, about gesture, and there are some images in there, but the color and the lines are all just to create sort of a unified painting.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. All of them look so nice.
Oh, thank you.
Now, I heard that sometimes you work on 3 paintings at the same time.
I do. I like to sort of, I don't like waiting for paint to dry. So we'll set up several easels. Like Cleo there is on one easel, and then this big painting is on its own sort of easel. And I'll swing you around, and you can see another little canvas that's empty, but it's waiting for a picture.
Oh, that's so fun. That's so exciting.
It is.
You're always busy.
Right. I like to stay busy when I'm in here.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Hey, listen, thank you so much for allowing us to come to your studio today and tell us a little bit about your sheep and your painting. This was really so much fun.
Oh, well, great. Like I said before, I'm really excited that you all wanted to stop by today. I always enjoy visitors. So thank you, Tauby.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And friends, I hope you enjoyed our visit with Mr. Blanchard today. And I hope to see you again next time.